Hey Aquarius, how's it going? I'm so happy to be here with you guys. We are here doing a timeless reading. First cards that we have out are Knight of Wands, Eight of Cups. Looks like there's somewhere that you're going. Could be making your mind up about something here. Okay. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of fire here. I feel like you're getting more serious with something that you're doing, where you could have been approaching something that you were doing in a way that maybe you were getting more immediate results, Knight of Wands, but then to have you sort of shifting away from that, because I feel like this is something that you were doing, as much as this can be another person where you're like, I don't want that type of energy in my life, or that's not the type of connection that I'm looking for. If we're bringing this back to being about your energy, this can mean that, like, for a period of time, there had been things that you were doing, and it doesn't have to be like in all areas of your life, you know, this can be in a single area of your life. Like, let's say within your relationships. Maybe you were getting yourself into situations with people where you were acting on impulse. And you could have been like, well, what's feeling good in a moment? Knight of Wands, you know? It's feeling passionate, but it's doing these things that really just cultivate these short-term results and really not have anything that are building blocks. There's like a lack of building blocks with this energy. And it's great when we need to take action in a quick way, but when it comes to us wanting stability within our lives or something long-term, like, this is not the way to do it, because this energy is going to get gassed out. And it's something where, like, the turnover rate is very quick. And I feel like this had maybe been a way that you were going about doing things before, where it could have been like, react to that, react to that, react to that, or like just responding to all of these things. And now it's like, oh, I can feel this and I don't need to necessarily act on it. Like, I can even witness this whole thing that I'm experiencing and mentally take myself on that whole ride. And then when it comes to physically what I'm doing, I don't need to do that. And I feel too like there's a relationship here that's being made, because I see wands as being connected with our, like, physical bodies generally. It's like root and sacral. I see this be, and solar plexus. So it's your lower chakras, which are connected with your physical being. And I feel like now this is like conjoining something emotionally or like internally for you. So you're like, as much as my body may want to do that or go that way or me behave or make these decisions, I know that they're not giving me the type of satisfaction that I'm looking for. And so there's a sense of immediacy within this that I feel like you're getting on the same page now. And to have you moving away from that and towards something where you're like, maybe even physically, like, this could satisfy me, or I feel like, oh, I fulfilled that impulse that I was feeling. But now it's more about something emotionally, because you could have been fulfilling something impulsively, like, I want to do that now, or I want to act on that now, and then been feeling like it's leaving you wanting internally. So this feels like you're not leaving this behind. I feel like this is more of it's being integrated now, and it's not only just making decisions based off of this. And to have then the Emperor coming out, I feel like the Emperor is like a more grown-up version of this, like a more matured version. And let's say it like this. With the Knight of Wands, it can be sort of like a code that we're using to make decisions. And you may have had to, like, turn your back on it for a little bit just to get out of that. But then with the Emperor, I'm seeing you, like, turn back around. So I don't feel like this is unintegrated and that you're just leaving it. I feel like you may have needed to stop doing things in this way and move in this direction. Like, okay, maybe I just need to sort of put these feelings on the back burner. That doesn't mean they're not there. It just means that I'm not going to play into that anymore. And I'm going to search more for what's working for me internally, emotionally, spiritually. And so you may have had to turn your back on this for a little bit, but having you move into the Emperor now, I feel like you're turning around. But I feel like it's because both of these energies have come together and you've gotten over here with it. So there's an assimilation. So much red here. So much. Red is a color of passion. But I feel like it's a different type of passion that you're tapping into. Like it's not just a physical type of passion. Meaning, when I say physical, I mean something that's going to like appease the senses, you know? It's like something that you may have been indulging in. So, have short term here. Feel like we're not gonna, feel like we could be more satisfied doing something more long term, shifting towards long term. Which may mean that things are gonna slow down a little bit. Like Knight of Wands can be things happening really fast, like people coming in and out of your life really fast, like you going to like all over the place, like different locations, you know, showing up, or having all of this different stuff that you're doing, or doing things repetitively, you know, like there's a type of, the fastest night is the Knight of Wands. So it's just like doing these things almost like, as soon as it comes up, then I'm gonna act on it, like that sort of thing, where it's like just around and around and around and around. And moving into this energy of the Emperor, it's you being like, is that like, do I really need to do that right now? So there's also a sense of wisdom of being like, I am feeling this, but I don't have to act on it. And so there's more of a sense of agency even that we can feel that we have, that maybe we didn't feel we had before. It's like discipline and self-control, but not in a way where we're not allowing ourselves to do things that we really want to do. It's more so like, is this going to get in the way of like my bigger goals of what I'm trying to build in my life? Or is this something that can be like added on top of that? So there's a question now where I guess like discernment more so is being used, where before maybe you weren't worried or concerned about your long term in this way. Like Knight of Wands is just for funsies, you know, like just having a good time. It doesn't really matter if this ends up being a long term thing or how this is going to impact me long term. I'm not worried about that. And it can be a lifestyle thing too. It can be like who you're hanging out with, like how you're eating, decisions that you're making, like what exactly it is that you're doing, what you're engaging in, what you're exposing yourself to. And you know, when you're in that mode, it's like you're not really concerned with what it's going to do and how it's going to affect you. And I feel like you've gotten to a place now where I feel there's a sense of maturing here, where it's not just about what's happening in the moment, but what's happening now and also what's going to happen later because of that. And wanting to feel good about the decisions that you're making, because this is about cultivating the type of life that you want. And now I'm also seeing too the Four of Swords here. So we see the Emperor and we see the Four of Swords, and so even though things may be feeling slowed down a little bit, that doesn't mean that there's no action in your life. And I also feel like now is a period of resting, but I don't feel like it's going to stay like that. Four of Swords is like right now is for recharging, it's for peace, it's for quality is what I'm hearing. But everything is like cyclical and everything is moving. So just because we have a card that's coming up saying like right now things may be slowed down, it doesn't mean that it's going to stay like that. Nothing is really in homeostasis long term. Nothing. Not anything in 3D. Yeah. whatever it was that you had been indulging before, I feel like as much as it could have been fun, you could have felt like it trapped you a bit, because I'm seeing the devil come out, but we have Four of Swords and we have the devil. So I feel like what you're taking a break from are the things that would keep you trapped in a loop. So I do feel like there's more freedom that you have now, because you've sort of disconnected yourself from the things that trap you. So that means that you're still having fun. It just means that you're no longer trapped. Like no longer buying into that. So much red and so much orange. I do feel like you've gotten free of something. This feels like really, really big. I'm also hearing official. It's like something can't touch you anymore. That's not to say that if you went back into it, it wouldn't grab hold of you again, but I'm getting you be in a place where you know better. So when you were doing things before, when you were like in that, we can say mode or mind frame or perspective of the Knight of Wands, I am seeing that you were attempting to build things, because there was a sense of like, I am trying to make an investment. I'm just getting that like things didn't really happen, like nothing really came of it in the way that you were hoping for it to. So that's why I'm getting, it's like you did it enough where you got to the point where you were like, this is not the type of material to be building with. But I'm seeing you like tried with all your might to build with that. It just didn't work. Because Knight of Wands has another agenda. So even though it can feel like, well, I'm just listening to my instincts, it's more of like our animalistic nature that we can be listening to when we're moving in that way. And I do feel like you were moving in a way that like you knew how to do it in that way because something had not been integrated yet, but I'm seeing something more like spiritually and emotionally be integrated now, that it sort of changes even like your perspective of that. But I'm getting to that, what was happening before was that it's like this. You kept buying all of the material that was associated with the Knight of Wands. And so like you were spending on that, okay? But every time that you were building, it like wasn't building. And so as much as you were investing in that, it like wasn't really going anywhere. So now I'm seeing things change. I'm seeing you invest in like a different type of thing now, because I'm seeing Seven of Pentacles and I'm seeing the star be connected with it. So this is like bigger stuff now that feels more important. Well, I don't want to say it's like more important, because I feel like when we think of something as being important, that's really relative, right, to where we are. Before, like those things were important to you when you were in this mode of the Knight of Wands, but you have different priorities now. And before, I don't think that you could fully see yourself in the way that you do now, so it's like a different story. Because you have more self-awareness now, you invest in different things because you're seeing like more of yourself, you're understanding more of yourself. Whereas before, maybe you could only see like a foot or two in front of you. Now I'm seeing you see like much more long distance. Like the scope is very different now. I am seeing, though, the Six of Cups popping up, and I'm wondering what that's about. Something about, like, reciprocity not working in the past with somebody. Like, you could have... Some of you felt wrecked over this. I'm seeing it was a situation with somebody from your past that you may have hoped would show up in a particular way, they didn't. And I'm seeing something that like really got to you. Could have really affected your confidence and like your self-image as well. Maybe it felt like destabilizing to you. But it also taught you about properly prioritizing, and it also taught you about your values, your relationship values, and also like how you wanted to be treated personally. Okay, so there's an opportunity coming up now. Hold on. I just want to clarify. Why is this Six of Cups popping up? Some of you, this can be a familiar face. Knight of Wands and Temperance. I'm seeing your guides be like, no sudden moves. So maybe somebody's coming back around. I wonder what this was that you were indulging in. Like how when we're doing a general reading and I'm like, I wonder specifically about this. When we don't get specific details, it's because that's the variable for everybody. So some of you, this could have been a social situation you were in. Some of you, this could have been an environment. Some of you, it could have been a particular relationship. Some of you, it may have been a habit or a behavior. Like it could be all those different things. But it's something that like on a sensual level, sensual meaning your senses, like your five senses, like connected with your body. I'm not talking about like the higher things, okay? I'm talking about just like on the physical plane, just your five senses. It would have been something that in a way sort of satiated that, or that was the hope that would sort of be what you were going towards and wanting to stabilize that in some way. Like I hope that this can be consistent for me, but I'm seeing something just you couldn't get it to stick. And then I'm seeing you got to a point where you were like, as much as I keep trying to show up, because I'm seeing you were very passionate the way that you had been showing up, but I'm just getting that like something wasn't going anywhere. Like, and you could have felt like it just like it hit a ceiling and then it couldn't, like nothing could happen past that. And I'm seeing you just got tired of it. And you were like, why do I keep doing this? So I feel like instead of trying to do the same thing and then driving yourself mad because everything was staying the same, you changed something that you were doing. And I'm seeing it sort of, it seems like it inspired something on like an emotional level for you, on an energetic level for you, that maybe you needed to sort of experience this type of frustration for this to be activated. So, all as it's supposed to be. Okay, so I'm seeing this Six of Cups be associated with Nine of Wands. I feel like this is about, sorry about the noise, guys. I feel like this is about allowing yourself out of the past and allowing yourself to see like yourself in the present moment and not be held back by your past. So I don't know, at first like Six of Cups can come through and sort of feel like a specific person, and for some of you it may have been somebody that the way that they impacted you, maybe you felt like you were sort of stuck in a little bit of a box, or you put yourself in a box. But I feel like this is about you expanding beyond that and not being held back by your past any longer. Because I'm even seeing something that you looked at and felt kind of nostalgic about, but I'm also seeing the Emperor be connected, so I'm not seeing you like fall for something, you know? It's not like the Queen of Cups is here and I'm like, you're about to trip all the way back down every step that you just climbed. Like, that's not the case with the Emperor. The Emperor is like, wow, in this moment I'm feeling super nostalgic, and I might even indulge and engage in this experience that I'm having in my head, but then like I'm not gonna call them, you know? It can be like that. Like I'm going to recognize that I'm experiencing this right now and just let it happen, but I don't feel like I need to do anything because of that if it's not aligned with my peace of mind, or if it's going to bring some sort of chaos into my life. So it's like a type of discipline that I feel like you have over a sense of nostalgia that maybe you felt like you didn't have before. But something feels like it's triggering past memories for you. But you don't take it, is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing stuff heavily on your mind come up. Even to the point where it feels overwhelming, but I'm seeing you're not going to do it. It feels like there's something that you used to engage in, or someone that you used to engage with, and you have gotten away from that. And you know, sometimes when we do that, where we like break away from a pattern or a behavior or a cycle of some sort, we can be away from it, and then we sort of like peek through that door again, and then we see it and sort of feel that, and it's like, yep, still feel connected to it, but then like close the door again and keep moving on. It's like knowing that this thing could always still pull you back in if you chose to go back in that direction. But I'm seeing you be so aware that I don't think that you're going to. I really think that this has changed for you, and for some of you it was something or someone that was like ridiculously hard to break away from, because I'm seeing the devil here. And like what the devil does is it appeals to each of us in the most seductive way, promising us that it is going to give us exactly what we want, and it doesn't. It's a lie. It's an illusion. That's the thing with the devil. So it will tell you exactly what you want to hear, but it's not going to materialize in that way. Or it's like the genie granting you a wish, saying like, I'm really gonna give it to you, and then it gives you something completely different, you know? So it's like just these little games that happen. But I feel like this is gonna be proof for you that you've really transcended something here, and that you're not like scared of it in a way where you feel like you have to push it away. I'm seeing you even be like, yeah, I can be feeling this right now. I'm aware that I'm even experiencing this nostalgia, experiencing these memories, or like this person reached out to me, or these pictures came up on my timeline or whatever, and I can be here and be like, I remember feeling so connected with that, and also I'm not going to engage in it now with where I am. Like, I'm not going to go back into that. So you can know that there's still that energetic, that line, because you know, energy, it doesn't get destroyed, it just changes form. So you can know that something still exists, but you can choose not to engage in it, and that's what gives it the power, you know? It's not the connection, it's when we choose to engage in it. And then we feel like we don't have a choice anymore, because it's totally, we become totally immersed in it. But I'm seeing you be like, I'm not going that way. I know that I could go back down that path, but I'm not going to. So I'm seeing you not indulge. I'm seeing so much self-restraint as well. Like, this is something to be so proud of, because there's such a deep sense of self-mastery. So even if this isn't being validated by anybody else around you, or you're not telling anybody else that you're going through this, like, this is such a thing, like showcasing to you just how far you've come, and that the work that you've done, the work that you've put in, like, it actually is working clearly. But I do feel like this is a really like heavy hit of nostalgia that you're experiencing. What's interesting too is that, like, planetarily speaking, I think this is just like personal opinion time, right? Like, this is Gabriella here speaking. This is my personal opinion. I do feel that, like, when it comes to the planetary shifts and the transits and all of that, and what's going on in our charts and what we're experiencing, that it's sort of like it's sort of like being on this magnetic grid where we feel these impulses. And so when we haven't gotten to a certain space spiritually as far as our awareness, it's like we just react to these things. And so it's like we get these thoughts, and as much as we can feel like it's coming from us, it's sort of like we're receivers for these things. Again, like all of the like magnetism energetically, it's like stuff that's going on up there, you know, as above, so below, we're experiencing internally. And when we get to the point where we have that sense of discipline and awareness, we know that we have a choice not to have to go back and engage in this. But before we do that, it's sort of like, oh, I'm feeling this, so I should call them right now. Or I've been thinking about them, or I keep having dreams about them, so even though it almost ruined my life last time, I'm just gonna call them up, you know, like that sort of thing. So I do get the sense of you being at a point where things do feel, it feels very different now this time around. But that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that you don't feel the things, you know, it doesn't mean that you don't feel the nostalgia, it doesn't mean that you don't feel the impulse. But the difference is your awareness now has given you a choice. And that's what makes all the difference. It's not you not feeling certain things. That's not a sign of progress. You can't control that. You can't control what's going on in your head. You can't, for the most part, you can't control what it is that you're feeling. Like, you can reframe things, yes. Like, you can meditate, yes, and gain more of a sense of self-control. But we all are channeling at the end of the day. And so because you are a channel, certain things like penetrate your energetic field and come through. And so like we can move through something and we can be doing the work and we can be making progress, and you can still have those thoughts back of that person or of that time or of that habit. You can feel that impulse, you can feel that desire to do that or go back into it. But when you sit with it and you say, you know, I have a choice and I don't want to bring that back into my life, or I don't want to invite that back into my life, like that's the work showing up. And that's how you can tell the difference, that what you're doing really is working and that it's effective. Because this is the point of it, to increase our sense of agency and like awareness that we do have that choice. So I am seeing you here thinking about yourself and thinking about your future and thinking about your dreams. And I do feel like something or someone was coming back through energetically. I'm not necessarily seeing somebody appearing. This feels like more of an energetic presence that I'm seeing of something or someone that feels like a revisiting. But I'm seeing Four of Cups, so I do not think you're going to go back into this. The pull is very strong. But I'm seeing this as something that there's been a break between you and this thing or this person or this habit, whatever it is for you. It was an old pattern of yours. Yeah, I'm seeing it be, it's like the devil offering you the Ace of Cups, but you know that it's not actually going to be the Ace of Cups. It's just messing around with you. But I feel like you know this. But what I do feel is that so first we have this, then this card came out, then this one. This is the past coming through, trying to be like, take me back, okay? When you say no to it, you know that the Ace of Cups is going to be offered to you instead. So I feel like you're holding out for something different. An Ace of Cups is going to be like a new love. It's going to be a new type of connection to something, you know? Like using the term love loosely and generally, because we can feel love with anything or anyone. Like, it doesn't have to be a person. It can just be something that you're connecting with. But it's actually going to be like the type of connection that you want, and you're not going to have to go back into the past. And that's not to say like pieces of the past weren't pleasant, but I'm getting you just look at it and feel like it's a bit it would have been a bit radioactive to go back into that, and that's why you're saying no. because again, like I'm seeing the devil be here. So this would be something where you're like, something just isn't all right with that. And so I'm also seeing you like really using your discernment here too. So holding out for the Ace of Cups. Some of you, this was a partner from the past I'm seeing with the Emperor. I'm hearing Scorpio. I'm seeing Aries, Capricorn, and Aquarius. I'm seeing Libra, Sagittarius, and the Moon. So, for those of you that you have been feeling these really heavy hits and really heavy waves right now of nostalgia, do not take this as a sign for you to go back. I want to be so clear about this. When we experience synchronicities, the synchronicities that we experience, they are not all green lights. You need to use your discernment. Sometimes there are red light synchronicities saying, don't go this way, or don't do this, or not right now, you know? So when you have something coming up, or you're dreaming about somebody, or you keep like seeing the first letter of their name, or whatever it is that's happening for you, do not take that just as a sign that you're meant to be connecting back with this person again. You need to use your discernment, because some of you, I'm seeing these really, really heavy, sorry, I'm getting a lot of words coming through. I'm just trying to stick to the message here. I'm getting some really heavy waves of energy coming through. This can also be something that the other person is doing on their end too, but you have the choice here. And I'm not seeing it be suggested that you go back into the past. I'm seeing it come through really heavily energetically, but I'm seeing that you're being guided away from it, that you're meant to keep doing what you're doing and not go back into this, okay? But just know that when these waves come through, the people that succumb to this are the people that they haven't gotten to the point where they've like developed their agency yet, and there's nothing wrong with that either, but it's more of like a more carnal, like even animalistic impulse that it's going to eventually teach us to evolve, but until we get to that point, we usually succumb to this. But because you've gotten to a point now where you have a choice, because of the level of awareness that you have, you don't need to. But I'm just getting this is meant to be clarifying for those of you that you're like, so I've gotten away from this. I feel like I'm further now on my spiritual journey, but why do they keep coming up? It's because you're just like part of a collective wave right now, but you're not meant to go back into it, okay? And it's for those of you that you know it was like a toxic situation that you got away from. It was an unhealthy situation that you got away from. It was a dysfunctional situation that you got away from. And it was something that had you feeling weak when you were in that, and almost like just not yourself because of the heaviness energetically of it. And when something is aligned, it does not create a dependency. It creates an empowering feeling. So beware of things when it feels like a little bit too magnetic. It's something to be aware of, because usually the point of us experiencing something very magnetic is to pull us in close enough in order to get us into some sort of learning course that we go through spiritually. So when you're feeling a pull like that, that's what that's about. Okay? All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. This past stuff, it is a karmic test. That's why with the 6 of Cups, the 9 of Wands came out. It's like a karmic test to see if you're going to go back into it again. I'm seeing the suggestion be not to, but again, you can do whatever you want. But if you do go back into it, it's going to be a repeat cycle, okay? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for connecting. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.